Hello everyone, in this video let's talk about the xbind directive of Alpine. This is extremely useful and you are going to use it very often if you are going to use Alpine in your projects. So xbind is basically used for binding and HTML, any kind of HTML attributes, like it can be classes, IDs, placeholder or search for image and styles. So let's see how it does work. So let's create a div and make it a Alpine component by giving it a x data. We are going to put something in here. Now let's use a paragraph tag and let's put some dummy text in that, like lorem 5. Okay, fine. Now we got our text. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Fine. Now let's say we are going to create a variable here. Let's name it my text and give it some class. So we are going to add our classes in here, and by using the xbind directive of Alpine, we are going to bind this with this paragraph tag. So let's say we want to make it bold and maybe green. So we actually need to style it ourselves because it is not actually declared. So at the above the finishing of the header tag, let's create a style tag. Inside it we are going to add a class of bold. It will make that font weight bold, nothing else. Also let's make a class named green. It will make the color green. Okay, fine. Now we are going to bind these two classes by using the myText by using xbind. So using xbind is pretty simple. You just need to type out x-bind, then we are going to bind the class, right? So colon class, and it will be myText. Let's save, and this is going to take the class name. If we inspect it, it is going to add this as a class. Okay, so this is our paragraph tag, and as you can see we got a class and it says bold and green, but we don't have any class in here, so it is going to add it dynamically. And this actually comes pretty handy, like let's say you have a password input field, and if someone put a password, let's say less than 6 character, it can be showed as red, and when it goes beyond 6 characters it can show as green. So in this type of cases you can just run a function like that, like if the input field got less than 6 characters, add a class of text red, and if it is more than 6, add a class of text blue or something like that. So we are going to use a ternary operator. We are going to see an example about that also. So we have added the class in here by using xbind, but we can also use the style tag, so style attribute. So by this way you can actually style an element without using any CSS codes. You can just put it as an inline thing. So let's create a div, and again let's create a x data which will have something in here. We're going to do that later. Now inside it, let's create a div. Inside the div, let's just put some dummy text. Let's say we want to add some inline style attributes with that. Let's say we want to make the text color white, also add a background color, also add a little bit of padding. So we can actually do that by adding a style attribute. Let's make the color to white. Now the text color is white. Let's also add a background color like blue, add a padding like 4 em. Let's save. Now we got this nice text box in here. So we are going to do this dynamically by using the Alpine.js. So let's do that. I'm just going to remove everything from here. Also you can just copy and paste this, but anyway, So inside it, as this is the object, we need the curly braces. Then let's add a styles. It is just an name of a variable, so it is going to contain lots of variables. Like this styles here is an object. We are going to put some values in here, like color should be white, and in this case we need to actually put the quotation, as this is a string. This is a value of the color because this is a object. Okay, let's also add a background. Let's say blue, and we need to also add a padding for EM. Now all these styles here are inside this style variable, so I'm just going to copy this, and we are going to bind this with this div by using the x bind. So let's do that, x bind, and in this case it is going to be the style tag, and we are going to bind the styles variable in here. Let's save and refresh. It kind of gets unchanged. If we just change it to yellow, it is now yellow. Now let's talk about another example. So we can also use the src attribute, the search attribute for image. So if you are going to use an API like the Unsplash API or something like that, and let's say you got a field for the user to search for an image, then if the user put the name of anything like a cat, and it is going to search for the image in Unsplash or any other stock photo websites, then it returns back an URL. So you can, in this case, you can just put the URL as a search attribute by using Alpine. So it kind of comes in handy. So let's see how we can work with that. So this is the Unsplash website. This is a free stock photo site, and you can get lots of free images in here. So let's choose an image. I'm just going to go with this one. If we just click it, we can copy link address, or we can just open it. And now let's copy the image address. Now let's see, let's create a div, and we are going to make it a Alpine component by using the x data. Inside it we are going to put our URL, but in case if you are using an API, we are going to do it dynamically. So let's create a variable named image. Inside it I'm just going to paste our link that I have copied. Now we need to use an image tag, because that's what we are going to do here. If we paste it here, it is going to output this image. This is kind of big, so we got a scroll bar. I will just add a styling pretty quick. Let's give it a max height of 100%. It will be okay now. So in this case you are going to just use this, but if we want to add it dynamically by using Alpine, how we can do that? Well, this is the same. Let's just use x bind, and in this case we are going to bind it with the src. So now we are going to just put the image. Let's save and see, it has been added. In the practical projects we are going to use x bind more than once. This is pretty popular and useful for practical projects. Now let's also bind a class based on the condition on ternary operators. We have talked about this before, but let's see. Let's create a div, and you have seen this before. This is the same thing, x data, and we are going to use a condition and a button to change the value of that. So let's say is open, and initially it will be false. Then we are going to add a button here. So what we are going to trying to do here is, we have seen this example before in the X show. So if we just click it, based on the condition of the X is open or anything, any variable like that, we are going to show or hide an element. but we can also do that by using CSS classes. Let's say we got two class, like a class named height. It got the property of display hidden. So if we add this class with a property or element in HTML, this is going to be display hidden, so it is going to be invisible. Let's also add a class of show. So if we add this class with an HTML element, we want the display to be, let's say, block. Now this is going to be visible. So we can do that by using xShow, but we can also do that by using the xBind. So we want the button to be toggle. So this is going to kind of like, if we click it, it is going to be visible. If we click it again, this is going to be hidden. So we have done that before. So X on and the event is click. Now we want the is open to be the opposite of is open. So now if the is open is false, if we click it, this is going to be true. Again, if we click it, this is going to be false again, kind of like that. So we got a toggle button in here. Let's add a paragraph tag with some dummy lorem ipsum text in it. So this is how we are going to hide. So we can do that by using the xShow and is open. Let's save. Now if we toggle it, it is going to be visible, again invisible, visible, invisible. But we are going to do it in a different way by using the classes we have created. So we got two classes, hide and show. Now the is open is false. When the is open is false, we want to add the class of hide, but when the is open is true, we want to add the class of show. That will make the display block, and this is going to be visible. So in here we are going to add a class by using the xBind. So let's do that. Class. Now we are going to add a ternary operator. So ternary operator is kind of a short form of if statement, but this is not actually if statement, but it kind of looks like it. So let's say is open, then put a interrogation. So it is going to check if the is open is true, then do this, and if it is false, then do the else thing. So the first one is the true option, like if the is open is true, the first thing here is going to happen. So if the is open is true, we want to add the class of show and then put a colon, and then comes the second option, hide. So this is how it goes. If the is open is true, then it is going to run this, the first one, and if the is open is false, this is going to run the second one. This is actually not working because I have done a noob mistake in here. So you cannot actually add display hidden because that doesn't exist. It should be like visibility hidden. Now it is hidden, but it is kind of in here, so we got the gap. But if you want to make it display, then we have to give it a value of none. Let's save. Now this is working. Now it is visible, gone, visible, gone. So this is going to check if it is open. That means if it is true, then it is going to add the class of show, and otherwise this is going to add the class of hide. If we inspect it, we can see it. So this is our element here, and got the, it added the class of show, but if we click the toggle, it added the class of hide. So this is very important, and in the practical projects we are going to use this type of ternary operators to bind classes repeatedly. So this is everything about the xBind. In the next video, let's talk about the shortcut for xBind and xOn. So see you there.